Hi, I'm John, and this is my show, An American Scheme, where I am proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. In this show, we're going to talk about an Evan Ross interview he had done on a show called Hollywood Unlocked with an interviewer by the name of Jason Lee. There's this one little part right here. I've seen a few of these interviews. Evan Ross and his wife Ashley Simpson, who Ashley Simpson Ross now, they're married. So I guess they've got a reality show. I'm not even sure if it's actually on right now or if it's coming up. It's supposed to be on the E! channel called Ashley and Evan is the name of their show. I think it's probably out now, but I'm not actually sure. I'm not watching the show. But I've been seeing him doing lots of interviews, some of them with Ashley, but then some of them just with himself. And on every interview, they always ask him about Michael Jackson. They ask him about his mother, Diana Ross. Those are usually common things that come up in these interviews. So I've seen a lot of them. And so what I've been looking for, and one of the things I've been watching these interviews, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking to see is if Evan Ross actually knows if Michael Jackson was the son of his mother, Diana Ross. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure how close the inner circle people, if they actually knew. Like, that's one of the things, who actually knows to this date. And so in this interview, what I'm going to point out to you is I saw one thing, and the way he said it makes me believe that Evan Ross did not know. He didn't know that Michael Jackson was actually the son of Diana Ross, that he still thinks that it could have been a love affair. So let's watch a little bit of this here.
So Michael was your godfather?
Yeah, I'm sure he was. I think he was a godfather to a bunch of people, but more than anything, he was just, he was a close family member to me. We were like, somewhat like brothers, you know what I mean? I think my mom was kind of like a mother figure to him as well.
Mm-hmm. So are you ever sensitive to the people speaking on Michael Jackson and or his relationship with your mom? Because I know a lot of people thought, we knew she was like a mother figure to him, but people also thought he loved her.
Okay, so in talking about the relationship, so now you see the actual closeness he's talking about where he looked at Michael like a brother. So Evan Ross is born in 1988. So, and you got to remember, Dirty Diana comes out at that time. So any relationship that would have came after Dirty Diana, this is the relationship that Evan Ross would have been born into. But Evan Ross is telling you that Michael was like a brother to him, and that Diana was definitely, he could see the mother figure. He still doesn't know what's going on. And like this guy's going to bring up here, we're going to talk about the relationship. They don't actually know what's going on with that in situation, but he knows Michael is a very, very close member of the family. He's not talking about the other Jackson members. And I have seen Evan say in another interview that Michael actually had a room in their house. He had his own room in their house, So there was this other stuff. Let's watch the other part of this.
I think so. I think it was a lot of things. I think he did. I know he loved her, and I think he also maybe was in some sort of way. My mom always says no, it wasn't, but I feel like he was, there was so much about my mother he loved, And I think some of the, what he had told me was a lot of the most amazing times he spent as a child was always with my mother, She didn't have him working or doing anything like that. She just wanted him to have fun, He talked about vacations and everything.
Vacations and everything, and how Michael spent so much time with Diana Ross when he came to Motown, and then they went and lived with Diana Ross. And then at that time, Diana Ross informs Michael that she's his real mother, tells him the whole story, and spends so much personal time with him, develops this personal relationship. And this is where I'm trying to show you where the love affair and all of the weird little things that develop in this relationship, you have to remember how it develops in the original. Michael doesn't know anything about Diana Ross. He's a Jackson. That's all he knows. And then once he starts moving into Motown, Diana Ross is starting to be around now. And then when they actually sign to Motown, then they go and live with Diana Ross. And I say that's when Diana Ross obviously would have informed Michael that she was his real mother. And then they started spending quality time together, just the two of them. And she's a big star. Michael would have had a crush on her. This is the weird thing. Michael Jackson would have had a crush on Diana Ross, the star, who eventually turns into being his mother. Okay, see, we're dealing with a really weird thing here. And then Michael Jackson, when he learns that she's his mother, they move to Hollywood. They're living with Diana Ross. But then at the end of that, when they end up the Jacksons do get their own house there, Michael would move back into that house, and he's a Jackson. And when the Jacksons are on tour, his time in his life, the majority of it is going to be spent as a Jackson, because he is a Jackson. So he has to go. There's this really weird thing that's happening with him in the 70s. If you look at all through the 70s with his relationship with Diana Ross, you're going to see there's extremely weird things going on. And there's so many weird things, and even in the media where Michael, I admit, I've heard Michael say, oh yeah, I'd marry Diana Ross. But when you actually hear those interviews and you see the wording, he's not actually saying that. It's completely a joke, and he's saying it in just a way that's not real. He says the words, and you could say, look, he says the words. But when you actually look at the wording of the conversations and how it comes out, the context of those conversations and how the words comes out, he never is literally saying he wants to marry Diana Ross. It's always this other stuff that's going on. You have to actually just listen and watch and see what he's actually saying. You can't just make stuff up. Like what Evan says right here. Evan in his head, this is where I saw that Evan doesn't know the truth. Because Evan is still trying to think that, yeah, you could see him fishing around in his head about the love relationship, that he could see that there was something even to the point where he still questioned his mother about it. But he flatly said, plain as can be, my mother always says no. My mother, boom, shot that down, cold, flat, cold, no ifs, ands, buts about it, no. Maybe there was just flat out, my mother says no. Boom, cold, shut it down. And then so you could see then a little bit of confusion on his face at that time. He doesn't understand because he can see the love like everybody can see. There's so much going on. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody could actually figure it out. And this is why Michael and Diana's relationship was so close and so much in everybody's face, because the fact that Michael was a Jackson, it was so well covered up that they were able just to flaunt it right into everybody's face when they were hanging out and spending so much time together, that what was happening is Diana Ross was making up for the lost time with her son, Michael Jackson, the great Michael Jackson. And then you see, when you see with her, she sees him as the child of, she's the love child of Smokey Robinson. So she looks at him in this really, really weird way now, that how she looks at him and now how that's developed and now how their relationship's developed. Now he's turned into this gigantic star. So she's just glorious as can be. And that's what you're seeing with her. When you're seeing her, that it looks like she's in love with him. No, what you're seeing is she is so glorious and happy about her son, what he turned in to be, and that he's the secret child of Smokey Robinson, the love child of her secret love affair, and that they pulled this off. And that's the big thing too, that they get to walk around in society knowing we pulled this off. An American scheme. It's not the American dream. It was the American scheme from the beginning. You're all going to learn that, and you're all going to see it's my story that matters. And it's me, the only one here, that sees the real truth. Even Evan Ross doesn't know. I even know more than Evan Ross.